All right, y'all. There's been a lot of updates with Diddy, and I want to start with this video here. This is not a new video. This is an old video, but I want to start with this because I think this is going to set up a lot of the conversation that I want to have today. So let me play this clip. This is Gene Deal, I believe is his name. This is one of Diddy's former bodyguards. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that he has some sort of immunity. I don't know. The reason why I say that is because he's been talking a lot for a long time, giving details. I mean, he was in these rooms is what it seems like. So the fact that he's talking so openly about these things, knowing that he was involved in some capacity, leads me to believe that he has some form of immunity. I could be wrong, or maybe he just is stupid and is just talking and doesn't realize that he's going to get pulled up, and wrapped into this. I don't know. I think he has some type of immunity. So let me play this clip and then let's talk, because there's been a big update in the Diddy case. Now, if you guys don't know, he filed for bail the first time. It was denied. He filed for bail today in appeal. So a totally different judge. So they swapped out the judge. They got a totally different judge, and the judge also denied his appeal. So Diddy is going to be sitting in jail until trial. How long is trial? Who knows? Who knows? But I'll tell you this, the feds, I don't think they're not in any rush. I think they know that at this point they can take their time. They can really make sure that they have their case buttoned up and dialed in, that they have all their witnesses lined up, that they have all the evidence lined up. And whenever they're ready, they're going to be ready. And also, these things do get delayed. These things get rescheduled. So he could potentially be sitting in jail for like a year. And my thing is he prepared for that? Because as we progress in this video, I'm going to show you some different things that Diddy's attorney was saying. And Diddy's attorney was essentially saying that, they were preparing for this moment, and they put together the most attractive bail package that they could possibly put together, which ultimately came out to a monetary value of about $50 million with some other contingencies that Diddy would follow if he were given bail. So his team was fully expecting to receive bail. I guess it's being said that Diddy also moved to New York in anticipation to be arrested. So he went to the place that he knew he was going to get arrested in an act to show that he was going to be compliant in this process. So I think he was fully expecting to be out on bail. And now that it's official that he's not going to be free, unless he beats the case, I'm curious where he's at from a mental standpoint. And that's why I want to play this video. All right. So let me play this video real quick, and then we'll have a conversation.
I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
Well, my personal opinion that if Lil Rob could be trusted and his statements are true, they got him.
So Lil Rod, if you remember, Lil Rod, he was the person that had first mentioned TD Jakes. And that's where that whole power bottom rumor came out, is because Lil Rod, he filed a separate lawsuit against Diddy. And then he had mentioned TD Jakes. He had mentioned a bunch of tapes. He mentioned a bunch of stuff. So he was saying if Lil Rod can be trusted, then they have tapes. Well, they said yesterday during the press conference for the indictment that they have tapes. So they do have tapes. But there's still some people who question the validity of Lil Rod. But what I think is very interesting with this statement specifically made from his former bodyguard is the fact that he said this. He said, I don't think it's only celebrities that are going to be shook. He had politicians in there, princes in there, preachers, plural, preachers in there. Here's my thought process. How much information is Diddy going to give? Clearly, what was going on involved way more people than just Diddy. He might have been the main individual who was orchestrating it, or maybe not. Maybe there was another individual or individuals group of people who were orchestrating this, and Diddy was a part of that. But the point is this: how long is Diddy gonna go before he starts revealing information, before he starts name dropping potential names that are of a higher profile than his, in an effort to lessen the blow on his side? Because clearly, just based on this interview, assuming that this information is true, who knows? We don't know. But assuming it's true, there's politicians, there's princes, there's preachers in there. All three of those individuals, all three of those groups of people would definitely send shockwaves through the entire world depending on who those individuals are. And that could potentially lessen the blow on Diddy. Who knows? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know anything about the legal system. But I do know you have a man sitting in jail right now who was fully prepared and expecting not to be sitting in that position. He was expecting to be indicted. I don't think he was expecting to not post bail because they prepared so much for it. And also, obviously, I'm interested from a preacher standpoint because, yes, TD Jake's name has been floated. It's been moving around in relation to Diddy for a long time, right? And this is all speculation. We don't know if this is true or not. This is all speculation. This is all speculation. But I do think it's interesting that it's plural. So potentially we're looking at multiple preachers who were involved in this. It's pretty crazy. Now, I want to play this video real quick. This is from Diddy's lawyer. And she was talking about the bail package that they put together. I think it's very interesting. Take a listen to what she was saying.
Why is that not a fair outcome?
What he did here is on a magnitude of unlike anybody else you could imagine. A week after those public searches were televised, he gave us his passport. His children gave us his passport. He then paid off the mortgage entirely on his Miami home, $18 million. It's instructive that he's going to have a bail package ready so that if he was arrested, he would have something ready so that he could get out the next day and show the judge he's taking this very seriously, which he is, which is why 12 days ago, Chris, when we thought there's an indictment that may be coming, he flew to New York the very next day. And that's an extraordinary move for a defendant who's been under investigation that he's been aware of for at least 6 months. He has done.
So one of the primary... How come that word just completely left my brain? One of the primary individuals in this case is Cassie, right? One of the primary victims. I don't know why I just completely forgot the word victim. One of the primary victims in this case is Cassie, right? Apparently Diddy and his team, they put together this whole letter essentially saying that, and this is a part of the bail package that they put out today, they put together this whole letter essentially saying that the event that happened with Cassie, that was not exactly what it seemed. And the event that I'm talking about is the event when Diddy was in a towel pulling Cassie by the hair and abusing her. I don't have any other word to explain it. It is what it is. He was abusing her. According to Diddy, Cassie was on Diddy's phone. Diddy was asleep. Cassie was going through his phone. Cassie had found some messages or pictures or whatever from another woman. Essentially, Cassie believed that Diddy had another girlfriend. Cassie was upset. Cassie took the phone, slammed it on Diddy's head when he was asleep, took his clothes, and then that's when Diddy was, quote unquote, defending himself after he was first abused by Cassie. So his defense was trying to paint a picture that this guy is not a monster. He was simply defending himself, because that was one of the reasons why they didn't want to let him back out on bail, was because they believe that this is a violent man who should not be on the streets. And they also apparently have evidence that he was attempting or was tampering with witnesses. He was talking to other people who are going to be involved in this trial, trying to pay them off or trying to have them change their story or whatever. So the prosecution essentially said, yo, this guy's a flight risk. He's abusive. He has a drug problem. He may or may not still be actively involved in this sexual lifestyle that, you know, we're alleging. On top of that, he's a billionaire. On top of that, statistically speaking, when you have trafficking cases statistically compared to other cases, individuals who are involved in these cases have a higher likelihood of fleeing the country and not complying with the legal process. So all of those reasons were essentially too much for Diddy and his team to defeat. And now he's going to be sitting in jail for who knows how long. On top of that, Diddy said, this is according to TMZ, Diddy and his team, they had stated that there would be no female visitors if he was going to be let out on bond. So essentially, Diddy and his team, they said that they would keep a log of all the visitors that entered the house. So they would have a log. They would enter all the names of the visitors that entered the house. They would then turn in that log to the feds every single night so that the feds could review who's coming in and out of the house. Obviously, Diddy would be wearing like some type of ankle monitor and stuff like that. And they would limit the women that would visit the house strictly to family members and the mother of his children. So that would be the only women that would be allowed in the house while Diddy was on bail. It's pretty crazy stuff. There's no media that's allowed right now. So they don't have any media inside the courtroom, but they have an artist who is kind of drawing up different images of what's going on in the courtroom. I think this is going to get really dicey. Obviously, there's a lot of other people who are involved. And when you're talking about a RICO case, that implies that there's a lot of people involved. And that's a very flexible, it's very flexible in terms of people can get wrapped up into it very quickly. Your presence at said party could in turn wrap you up into this case very quickly. And that's intentional from the prosecution side because they're trying to get as much information as possible. They're trying to get people to talk. They're trying to get eyewitness accounts. They're trying to get as much that they can possibly get so that they can win this case. And I think the longer and longer that this case goes on, then more and more names that are going to be coming out. And I think it's going to be very interesting, assuming everything goes how it should go, quote unquote. I think a lot of these names are going to send some major shockwaves throughout the media. Because Diddy was very well connected. He was known for his parties. And a lot of people love Diddy, or at least they did. And it's crazy because, like, I used to watch Making the Band back in the day. I talked about this in the last video. I used to watch Making the Band. You know, I used to be a fan of Diddy. And it's just wild that you have these people who have seemingly everything on this earth, from like a money and a fame and a, you know, the women and the cars and the clout and the influence and the power and the respect. You have these people who have everything on this earth, but still find themselves in these situations, still find themselves slaves to their sin, slaves to their own desires. It's interesting. As I said before, he's innocent until proven guilty. I'm not trying to cast any guilt onto the man, but just based on what the prosecution is presenting to the public, it does not look very good whatsoever. It doesn't look very good whatsoever. So let me know what y'all think. Get in my comments. Let me know what y'all think. All right, I'm out.